Welcome to the Passion to Purpose podcast. My name is Janet Du Chenne, and I'm founder of ThoughtTree Lab and your host. I'll be interviewing executives to talk about their careers and their passions, in particular, physical movement and other passion pursuits that reveal values that drive us at work, enabling us to connect to something greater. It's about authenticity, communication, and creating stories that resonate. And to set the scene and give you a little insight into me, I'll be hopping into the guest seat for this first episode. And I've asked my ex-colleague at Deutsche Bank marketing team, Jacob Howard, who is founder of his own business and podcast, both called Financial Marketing Insights, to hop into the interviewer's seat for this inaugural episode. Hi, Jacob.
Hi, Janet. Yeah, happy to do this. Very honoured to be asked to jump into your seat to be the interviewer for this inaugural episode. So should we get cracking? So to introduce you, I know that you've had over 25 years in marketing with multinational financial institutions, and you're also a well-known journalist and public speaker for leading magazines. So given all that, what prompted the move to do something quite different with ThoughtTree Lab?
Thank you very much for that lovely intro, Jacob. So after 10 years working on thought leadership projects at financial institutions, I observed a pivotal turning point in 2024 where financial institutions responded to rapid change through what we know as the year of the rebrand. And there we saw countless messages, buzzwords and catchphrases about purpose and culture flooding multiple platforms. But amid this noise, it became clear that traditional corporate narratives and AI weren't cutting through. So what was missing? It's authentic human-driven narratives that enable executives to stand out, because fundamentally people buy from people. So when we connect physical movement and active pursuits with our professional communication, we reveal values that drive us at work, enabling us to align with something greater and create these stories that resonate. And when those values align with a company values, it enables those leaders to demonstrate purpose and performance, which elevates their thought leadership beyond generic corporate speak.
Yeah. So how does getting up at 6 a.m. to run help leaders to communicate better?
Yes, thankfully you don't have to be a great thought leader to wake up at the crack of dawn. And although I enjoy running, it's my preference. It's really the key thing is identifying what drives you and extracting the transferable values from that. So if we take a senior executive who is leading a massive financial market change in Europe, who I'm working with currently, he's also a huge fan of mountain climbing, and that reveals perseverance and resilience and collaborative teamwork, which are exactly the qualities that make his high-level strategic and very technical content compelling and engaging to stakeholders. Another CEO in capital markets is passionate about human connection, and her 30 years experience in both client-facing and HR roles really demonstrate her care for people shines through, and this enables her to champion client centricity externally while bridging brand gaps across departments and teams internally. And well, for me, running gets me into that creative flow to write thought leadership pieces and speeches for others. And it's really about unlocking those ideas and creative flow that's needed for strategic thinking in high stakes environments.
Great, I understand. So it's something completely different really for our industry, connecting running or mountain climbing or your passions to your executive communication. But how do you address the skeptics who think that this maybe is a bit soft for financial services, for example?
Yes, it's a great question, and it's heard it a few times, been able to synthesize that. And in fact, when I first took the idea to CMOs and senior executives and talent leaders last year, I was aware they are used to doing things a certain way in the corporate environment. So me turning up and saying, hey, let's talk about running and your digital transformation, or painting and how you're adapting to industry change, that opened me up to all sorts of interesting responses. But it also allowed me to address this head on. And for those who are skeptical and think this is out there for financial services, I'd say it is, and that's the point. What ThoughtTree Lab does is addresses a critical gap that I observed, which is the disconnect between leaders' personal brands, the authentic personal brands, and their thought leadership. It's often too easy, given time pressures, to share corporate content on their own channels. But when we share insights that weave our industry experience and personal values that come from what we enjoy doing most, the engagement is transformational. So whether that's walking into a boardroom client meeting or addressing an internal audience, their communication becomes infused with that professional expertise and their personal values. And this gives them that distinctive voice in a crowded marketplace. I'm pleased that the confidence comes from seeing the results, where they don't just communicate and publish great speeches and great content, but their trust and relatability also increases.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that you've helped some senior executives that I know personally. So without naming names, can you walk me through the kind of steps or changes that someone goes through when they start working with you that connects their movement or their passion with their professional presence?
Sure. So there is a moment after we sit down together after a journalistic coaching style interview where we discover their industry experience, their passions and values, and the industry problems they're uniquely positioned to solve. I then reflect back on what stands out about their authentic essence, and then they start connecting the dots between their professional experience and their values through what they enjoy doing, and that makes them more relatable and more memorable. The breakthrough is when they find their unique voice, which is that unique combination of high-level strategic thinking as well as the technical depth that they want to be known for in the market. And what that does is helps them close the brand gap between who they are as leaders and how they show up across departments and teams.
Okay, brilliant. Now, in our industry, everyone always has to show ROI, return on investment. So how do you measure whether this approach actually works? What would executives expect to see?
Yes, well, the ROI is both quantitative and qualitative. We use the same metrics. So if we start with quantitative metrics, it's the usual that we're used to in our industry, which is tracking engagement rates, downloads, eyeballs on site, and feedback after internal meetings and also at conferences. Qualitatively, and perhaps more importantly, what they can expect is that confidence in their unique value proposition, which increases, and in their personal brand and their stakeholder engagements. They become that voice that stands out. And how that ROI manifests, if you like, is through that enhanced professional presence, improved team alignment around authentic leadership, and ultimately those advancement opportunities that align with their strengths and their values.
Excellent. So for listeners of your podcast like me who might still be a little skeptical, what's one small step that I could take or they could take this week to test whether movement or your passion improves your professional communications?
Sure. So I would choose one activity. It could be what you enjoy doing most, whether that's gardening, walking, or cycling, and then ask, what did I prove to myself about my unique capabilities? And then find one opportunity to share that in a professional context. You'll be surprised, hopefully, how that simple connection between movement and mindset and it can help sort of you transform your communication and your thought leadership and take that from ordinary to memorable.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Janet. I'm looking forward to hearing more episodes in the series.
Thanks, Jacob. See you soon.
See you.